Yams, good morning YouTube. Just thought I'd make a quick video about why I would never purchase another Chrysler again. I was actually conversing with somebody back and forth on YouTube, on somebody else's YouTube channel about some Jeeps. I guess they were SRTs and maybe some Trackhawks, and I have to watch the video again. They were selling for cheaper. Why you could get them cheaper now, and I won't get into all of that. But I said I was trading comments with Evan. I can't say your last name, man, but you kind of inspired me to. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I guess I'll say. You kind of inspired me to make a video because it is a shame. You know, I'm an American car person. I'll talk trash about Mopar, even a little bit about Ford. But at the end of the day, I am a fan of all three. That would be Chevy. It used to be all four, but Pontiac. I miss Pontiac. Pontiac, Chevy, Ford, and Chrysler. You know, to be even more specific, we'll say Dodge and Jeep. Why I'm so disappointed in Dodge or Chrysler, Jeep, I'll get into it in a minute. But yeah, I'm in the garage. I can't fit a car or the motorcycle in, so I kind of have to. It's kind of just a storage unit. But let's just say I've been driving since I was 16. Got my first car around 18. You know, and I'm talking back in like 90, 91. I'm over 40 now. I know I look kind of good for my age, but be 44 next year, let's say. Got these crazy cats in here. Somebody actually left them out in a thunderstorm in the rain. Somebody called. My cat runs a cat rescue, so one of her co-founders actually called and said some lady left 2 cats out here, and when she sent the pictures to us, we knew they were indoor cats because these cats were like stuck in one spot. Like they wouldn't move. Their ears were down flat. You could tell they weren't outside cats. But anyway, this is their home until we can find them another home. We have a cat in there that doesn't like other cats. Like I said, this video is going to be about why I wouldn't buy another Chrysler. This is a page of notes here. I don't know if you can, I don't know if that's backwards or not. You know, it might be a little dyslexic or whatever they call it. But you can see it has dates on there. Vehicle was driven February 16th. So you know these are actual notes that I had to write. I've never done this before with any other car. But I felt like I had to do it because of all the issues in case I had to do a lemon law thing. But 3 pages, and this is just what I wrote, what was written down. This is not even everything. But being that it was some months ago now, and I've had this 17 Camaro SS since July. Here it is September, so my memory's kind of a little faded since I got this car. It's kind of been, my memory's kind of been replaced with memories of having this already. But I know I purchased that Jeep Grand Cherokee. It was 50,000 miles on it, February 8th of this year. And the only reason why I bought it was because I have a son who's now 2. And as you know, Camaros, you can't really, especially in these newer ones, these 6th generation ones, there's no room in the back seat, you know, unless you're like a dwarf or something. My son barely fits in the back, but we make it work. I said, okay, let me get something bigger, but since I like performance, I'll get something that's more family, but it has some horsepower. I know, I like the Jeep Grand Cherokees. Never thought about buying one, but you know them when you see them. You know, you see it. Oh, there's a Grand Cherokee SRT8. You know, if you know cars and like performance cars, people you know specific cars when they ride past you. You can tell by the fog lights or the exhaust. The mufflers, whatever. You know, I can tell a RS Camaro from a SS Camaro immediately. with the 5th and 6th generations. So I can't remember exactly. I'm not going to. Well, the cat's gotten on the thing anyway. Yeah, crazy cat. They're so friendly. I don't know why somebody would do that to them. And they're fixed already, so at least they did that. But a week after I bought the car, I can't even look at the notes. A week after I purchased the car, I believe the heat shield went. It was like making some noise or something. Then 2 weeks after that, my wife had the Jeep because she loves the Grand Cherokee Srt8. She called me and said it's not moving. I think I told her to cut it off and cut it back on again. She ended up making it back to the house. So I said, okay. If it happens again, I'll take it from there. Her dad was driving it. He's a car guy. He's a big BMW guy. He's like, I forget what year his BMW is, but he's a car guy. He drove it. It stopped working for him. I can't remember how we got the car back to the house. We definitely didn't get it towed or anything, but I ended up going to the dealership, the Jeep dealership that's about 5 miles from where I live at. I'm in Philly. They kept it for about 3 or 4 days before they called me and said, you have to send it back to where you purchased it from, which is in Norristown, Pennsylvania, which is about 30 miles away, including the turnpike. That's the fastest way. They ended up, I called them, they ended up getting it back to their dealership. I don't know if somebody drove it, if somebody towed it or what, but they got it back to their dealership. So I'm in contact with them back and forth. Had to get a rental. As a matter of fact, I had to get a rental from the dealership that was closest to me. They took me to go get a rental, and I believe it was a Charger RT of all the cars that I had to rent. That was the only one they had. And I said, oh my God, I can't stand these cars because these guys with them, they always want to race and they think it's an SRT. And like, come on, man, you got 370 something horses in there. Like, yeah, a couple years ago that was, nowadays that's nothing. These Camaros 455 horses, and that's not even to the wheels. Really, it's fast, but it's compared to a lot of these cars out today, it's starting to not be that fast. Especially with these Dodgers out with these Hellcats and Demons. Okay, let me get back onto this Grand Cherokee Srt8. I'm trying to hurry up. They had it for over a month, a little over a month before it was finally ready to go. I remember when I got it back, I was leaving from work. I can't remember how long after I got it back. Coworker pulled up next to me and said, hey man, I can smell your car. Smell like you need a catalytic converter or something, or your fuel injector is clean. I can smell you 2 blocks behind you. I said, I thought I smelled fumes in here, but I just said, okay, they had the car for a while, maybe something leaked on or something. Had to end up taking it back up to Norristown again. I believe I opened the hood and seen all the oil. It was like oil all over I think it was the headers or something underneath the engine. I wasn't too familiar with it. They looked like headers. I'm assuming that's what they were. I'm not a mechanic, so take it up to Norristown. There all day. This guy I used to always deal with up there, he was the service manager, told me, well, we'll clean the oil off because it could have been from an oil change or whatever. All right, sir, we'll run with that. Take it back home. A couple days later, it's that same smell. And whenever you stop, you can smell, I guess the smell caught up to you, or the smell was coming off of the engine. So, the wind wasn't blowing it. Had to take it back up there again, and I forget, well, I have to find a receipt. I forget what was right. It was some gaskets or some valve cover gaskets or something had to be replaced. So I had to drive it back up there. Well, I drove it back up there when they told me that's what it was. They still had it for a couple of more days. Now, let me tell you how this started off. This is the problem I had with the dealership itself, and this is what I don't want anybody else to have to go through if you're in the market of buying any used car. Or any car, period. I don't care. It doesn't have nothing to do with Chrysler or anything like that. I was told that, keep in mind I came up with a check from my credit union. I've dealt with my credit union before with 3 other cars. I know you're not going to beat the interest rate that they give me. This is my bank. This is who I deal with. This dealership told me, we have to run your credit again under the Patriot Act. Okay, I never heard of that before, but, you know, maybe because, you know, stuff was going on in the world. Maybe that's the thing. You know, they want to keep track of who's buying cars, or they don't know what you're using it for. You know, it just would flash through my head. This is when I first came up there, the third time I went up to the dealership to actually get the vehicle. First 2 times was just to test drive it. Come to find out, there's no such thing as a Patriot Act for buying a car. There's nothing under the Patriot Act that I know of to purchase a car. So they lied to me. And they did that to try to get me a cheaper interest rate. Which I understand, you know, you're trying to give me the best rate possible. And maybe they felt like they were looking out. But ask me, hey, you mind if we run it to see if we, because that's what happened before, see if we can get you a cheaper rate. And I'm like, no, I'm good. You know, I'd rather deal with my credit union, even if their interest rate is higher. But I know nobody's going to beat. I know for a fact you're not going to beat my credit union. And they didn't. So let's go back to what was wrong with the car. Now, this was after the transfer case, after the heat shield. Keep in mind, this was like the 3rd month I had it. And they had it for a month of that, putting the transfer case in. I was driving at this point in time, because I had to take the RT back. I was driving a Ford Dodge Ram 1500 or something. It only had the 2 doors. I guess you call it a single cab or something. It was like the base model. I forget what kind it was, but I'm driving a pickup truck. A pickup truck. I don't drive pickups. There's no need for me to have a pickup. And it was big. It was high off the ground. It just looked like something like I'm coming to your house to do some cement work or fix your fence or something. It's not my style. I'm going from a Camaro to a Grand Cherokee Srt8 to a RT. Now I got this big ugly pickup truck. Whatever. It's getting me back and forth to work. So make a long story a little bit shorter. Get the car back. Now, after the gaskets, the transfer case, the heat shield, I actually purchased some rims for it. I got a video about that. These are the old rims. The stems had to be replaced, so that was almost $200 more for 2 of the tires. All of this adds up. What else was it? When I took off, now the radio cuts off. The radio completely cuts off. I need my sports talk. I need my Wu-Tang Clan. You know, I need my Mobb Deep. I need my hip-hop. I even need a little bit of David Bowie sometimes. Even a little bit of the Bee Gees I might play. No radio. I gotta drive to work and the radio just cuts off. Like, oh, come on, man. You gotta be kidding me. So that was it. You know, I couldn't take it anymore. So I made the video. I went back to what I knew, and that was the Camaro. I went and I seen this Camaro online. It was the red line edition. I said, yeah, you only live once. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And on top of that, the car was in an accident. And when I told them that, they told me that it wasn't an accident, just the hood was seated wrong. Made a video about that too. But I've always heard from other car people, unless they were Mopar, Dodge, Chrysler, and all that, garbage. Garbage, kitty cat. But I never had one, so I never paid it any mind. I just knew I probably would never purchase one anyway. But I gave Chrysler one chance. I don't care if it's 50,000 miles on it. It's a $60,000 to $70,000 car, brand new. It only had 50,000 miles on it, was 5 years old. Now, when I questioned the durability, Dodge has stepped it up. And they made other companies step it up. Yeah, buddy, I see you. With the horsepower, you know, who would have thought 10 years ago, you can have a daily driver, or a car you could drive daily, with over 700 horses. You know, so I give Dodge that. They were the first ones to up this horsepower ante, you know, to raise the bar on performance cars that were pretty much affordable. And they're an American car company. as far as I know. You know, who knows nowadays, but. And I'm quite sure I see a lot of Challengers, I see a lot of Chargers, I see I'm starting to see a lot of Grand Cherokees, SRTs and not SRTs. I know two people around here. Somebody just bought a Dodge Durango SRT, which that's an awesome looking SUV. I mean, like I said, they make nice looking cars, but I think with this horsepower, they're in over their heads with the durability. If you get a brand new Demon, since they just came out, I question how they'll perform once they get 50,000 miles on them, 60,000 miles on them. I just think the horsepower and the price don't match. You know, if you get a Porsche or Lamborghini, or you even step it up to like a Dodge Viper or what's the Chevy, you know, they're up there top of the line Corvettes that's like over 100,000. The GTRs. You're spending money and you know you're getting a high. You listening to me down there? You're getting a high performance vehicle, and you're paying for that. But when you get something like a Demon or a Hellcat, and they're, you know, $70,000-$80,000, which is a lot to the average person, but for that horsepower, I just wonder what they're actually putting in these cars that's going to take that beating. You know, not to say Lamborghini or Porsche or something like that can't break down, or Audi, or BMW that you might pay over $100,000 for. But I just don't trust Dodge with this performance. It just, I have to question it. Like, these cars would have this much horsepower. Are they that cheap because they're just a common American, you know, car brand? Like, it's nothing, you know, you can see a Chrysler ride down the street. If I stand on the street now, I see 10 Chryslers ride by. You may not see any Lamborghinis or Porsches ever ride down the street. I wouldn't buy another Chrysler. Most people that I've talked to think they're shitty anyway. And with my one experience with them, I would never buy another one. Leasing one is a little different because you know you're giving the car back. But if I'm financing or paying flat out for a car, or I'm financing a car that I'm going to have after the warranty runs out and it'll be 100,000 miles or more on it, I would never buy a Chrysler. Never buy a Chrysler. That's not me being biased. That's just me thinking in my head, like, it's just something that doesn't add up. And the icing on the proverbial cake is me having one, even though it was used, and I had that many problems in like 4 months with it. I don't care how the person behind me drove it. I think a lot of times too, these car companies, even if they're certified, they don't really check these cars out like they say they do. Because if you certified this Grand Cherokee I bought, which it was supposed to be certified, you would have seen that there was oil on the engine, that it needed gaskets at least. And I'm pretty sure that was leaking before I got the vehicle. That was nothing new. And I'm pretty sure that the person who traded it in, because what do we do when a car keeps acting up? Trade it in and get another one. Me, on the other hand, I traded mine in because I needed more room. But, you know, a lot of people trade their older cars in when it's time for something new, or when their car is not worth, you know, getting it fixed. And I think that's what this person did. I don't know if they beat it up or not. You know, gas-wise, I couldn't drive it that fast all the time because it always needed gas, and the front rims were always dirty. That's another reason why I got the all-black rims. I mean, every other day I had to clean. Oh, it's so annoying seeing cars and the front rims are dirty. Like, clean the damn rims from the brake dust. But so let me just go ahead and make a video about it instead of you know, typing something in comments, because then something gets lost in translation, and sometimes it's better to listen to something than reading it. And Evan, you kind of made me want to make this video. But if you agree with what I'm saying, feel free to comment. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, feel free to comment. You know, maybe enlighten me on some stuff I'm wrong about or I don't know. It's probably not going to change my mind. I don't care how nice these cars get. But one point I wanted to make in this is watch what these dealerships try to pull. I don't care how nice they are and how good the coffee is, or how good, you know, the woman that takes your payment looks. You have to watch what some of them do, and I wouldn't think like a major dealership like this Jeep dealership would do that. What they did with my running my credit twice. Didn't hurt me too bad. My credit score is kind of high, but that just wasn't cool. And not to say a Chevy dealership wouldn't do that. Any dealership could do that. You know, that has nothing to do with Chrysler. I think that was just shitty management at that particular place. But that's one thing, you know, if anybody tell you they have to run your credit again, if you come up there with a check under some Patriot Act bullshit, don't do it. Walk right out of there. Go somewhere else. But that's why I said too, you know, I'm titling this, I would never buy another Chrysler again. And hopefully I'm explaining why I say that, you know, why that's my opinion on that particular car company. Nice cars, inside and out. And I love that Durango. I like the RT Durango. I like the Challenger. You know, I like the Hellcat. I like the RTs. I like the one with the shaker hood on the top. They make some nice looking performance vehicles. But I have to like them from a distance. I would never buy one. But what I will be getting eventually, maybe when this kid gets a little older, that ZL1. That's definitely on the bucket list. Got to get me a ZL1 because I love them. I like the Corvettes too, but I want that ZL1, which is basically just a Corvette anyway with a little extra trunk space if you put the seats down in the back, because you ain't putting anybody in the back of this Camaro. It's a 2-seater. But that's it. You know, like I said, if you agree, comment. If you don't agree, feel free to comment. Thanks for watching the video. If you want to subscribe, you can. You know, I'll probably be putting some more stuff up as I do more stuff to the Camaro or the motorcycle. And hopefully it'll stop raining for a couple of days in Philly, because this is ridiculous. So, if these cats are home, I guess. And that's it. Yams.